Attention, bobsled riders! You will soon be embarking on a thrilling podcast down the icy slopes of the Matterhorn. So please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the bobsled at all times. Auf Wiedersehen!
Hello, yodelers! We are the Matterhorn Yodelers. I'm your host today, Jackie, and we have...
Japheth.
And...
Mickey! Hello, everyone!
Wow, Mickey?
Yes, Mickey's here.
Where's Minnie?
Oh, she's making me a sandwich.
Oh, Mickey.
I was all like, maybe she's with Goofy? I don't know. That's the rumor going around.
That's a callback.
That's
That's a callback to a prior episode.
yeah, we were like, oh, gosh.
That's a prior joke from a prior episode. Sorry.
So, today we've all gathered here to talk about Peter's trip to Disneyland.
Wow, another trip report. We're doing a lot of these.
That's what happens when you get a season pass.
It's true.
You have to use it.
Yep. You find any excuse. This was a very spontaneous trip that we went on. Right?
You expanded it, too.
Yeah, originally we were only going to go for like a couple days, and then it turned into like 4.
Yeah. So... you just went to Disneyland recently.
Yes.
Where did you stayed somewhere special?
Right. So normally we stay at we stay at a place called Cortana in Suites, which is like right next to the Toy Story parking lot. So you just walk in.
Really nice.
Really.
I've gone with you and I like the place. I
and
would
they
go there
great
again.
breakfast and all that stuff. We were originally going to plan on staying there again. We also had other family that was going a little bit before we were. During that week, and they're staying at that place. But we kind of waited a little bit, and that week that we were going was the same week they were having Star Wars Celebration, the big Star Wars
There was a
convention.
lot that came out. Like I didn't know they censored like videos were like, no, you will not be able to release these, and like they've been vigilant on YouTube and Reddit. Of, like,
and we can maybe talk, and we'll probably talk a little bit what happened at Star Wars Celebration when we talk about the Kenobi series when we go over that when that's finished.
Yeah.
I was like, I haven't seen the most recent episode.
Right, right. So because of that convention, all the hotel prices were like double or triple. And so when we were looking at the prices of hotels, we go, well, Disney prices didn't really go up. They stayed the same. And so for just like an extra couple $100 a night, we stayed at the Disney Paradise Pier Hotel.
Oh no, twist my arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Which, that hotel, they're converting it to...
The Pixar... They haven't officially called it anything, but it'll probably be called the Pixar Pier Hotel, the Pixar Hotel, which...
Until it fully takes over California Adventure and we call it Pixar Land.
Pretty much. Pixar and Marvel.
Yeah.
Pixar/Marvel Land, yeah.
Other than Disney, you know,
Right.
like...
Was there a lot of construction?
So, yeah. So, funny thing was, when we went to our kids had no idea we were going to Disneyland.
Oh, I remember you telling us this. I was
They
like,
had
oh,
no
so
idea.
What
and
point did they realize they were going to Disneyland?
I think we were like halfway through California when my oldest, he had made me, are we going to Disneyland? And what I kept telling him is like, no, we're going to the zoo. That was kind of the thing. We're going to the zoo. Why are you go? This zoo's far away. Let's go home. I don't want to see the zoo. And I said, yeah, we're going to the zoo. There's going to be mice and dogs and chipmunks and fish. There's an aquarium there. You know, like, just trying to build up, you know, like, kind of stretch the truth on him a little bit. And, like, we're almost at the hotel. And so we pull up.
A hotel to go to the zoo?
Yeah. Well, they're like, oh, it's too late to go to the zoo. Because we left a little bit later in the morning. So we left, I think, around like 10 o'clock-ish in the morning. And it's about 5-6 hour drive. So, like, we you know, when we came up to the hotel, we were behind Disneyland, so they didn't, you know, see Disneyland. And so, like, we pull into the Paradise, to kind of the entry driveway, where you unload your luggage. And, like, Levi, my youngest, he immediately sees a statue of Goofy holding a surfboard. And he goes, my friend! My friend! And pointing to it.
So
My friend's
sweet.
here!
That's so sweet.
Yeah, it was awesome. So, we check into the hotel. It was under construction. Well, somewhat under construction. They were playing Pixar music all throughout the hotel. So, like, that part of it is what they're going with in terms of the music for it. It still had that Paradise Pier feel. It still it smelled like they had the air sense of, like, you're at the beach. So it smelled like salt water and like you're at the beach. So, like, it still had that vibe. The rooms still, everything was the same. The pool was under construction. So we did not have access to the pool. But because we didn't have access to the pool, they gave us access to the Disneyland Hotel pool, which is 1,000 times better than the pool that they have there.
Oh, that's so cool.
Which, that was awesome. That's a great pool. I'll talk about that. But before, when we booked the room, I think we just had a standard room that wasn't facing the park. It was just facing out.
Cheapest room, please.
Yep.
Pretty much. But then
not very far. What a find,
right. It was like as cheap as we could get. And then I think my wife, she called like the same day, and they were offering a free upgrade to a park-facing room. So we were literally peering into the Pixar Pier part. Which
that was the picture you
sent. I sent you.
Yeah.
I sent pictures out, which you guys didn't get. Father Yodeler got it, but I had to send it and show you guys later of our view.
Which, after seeing it, I'm like, what a wonderful view.
It was a great view.
I almost lied and be like, what a great view. It could have been like someone's butt crack. Maybe it would have been sarcasm at that point.
But so like we were the 10th floor up, so we were high up on the hotel, overlooking that area. That first day we went to the park just for a quick...
So did they realize that they were going to Disney? What point did they realize they were going to Disneyland?
Oh, pretty much when we were at the hotel.
They're like, we're going to
Well,
Disneyland.
it's funny too because some of them were like, kind of like bummed in the sense of like, are we really going? Can we go to the aquarium? It's like, yeah, we'll go. We'll see the aquarium right now. And I kept playing on that, like, oh yeah, the Little Mermaid attraction. There's lots of fish in there.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of like my joke with them the whole trip. Like, oh, you want to go to the Science Center? Yeah, we'll go to the Science Center tomorrow in Tomorrowland. I was just having fun with them that way. But they had figured it out. But we went to the park the first day. We just had some dinner. We perfectly timed Spider-Man because it was down. And we were just kind of walking through, and then I looked at my phone, it says, it's open! And we booked in there, and it was only like a 20-minute wait.
Wow.
That's nice.
So we got that done, so we didn't have to worry about that for the rest of the trip. And then after that, we did the Grizzly River run.
Yeah, why not?
We were all wet, and then we walked back to the hotel, and we watched World of Color from our hotel room.
Oh,
which, one of the cool features is
they had
the music on one of the TV stations. So, like... Throughout the day, it's just playing generic Disney music, but when the show's happening, they have it synced up perfectly.
That's great.
They even had the channel for like the Disneyland fireworks show, but you couldn't really see that from our angle without like really like leaning into the glass and looking
over the window. I want to look out.
Yeah.
Right. So, but it was really cool. I mean, is it the most amazing view? No, because you still have like attractions kind of blocking the way. But, like, it's still nice in the sense of, like, you can still enjoy the show from your hotel room and then 5 minutes afterward just go lay down in bed and not have to fight the crowds, which that is a whole other story because we did watch World of Color on the ground on our last day. I'll talk about that later. But, so that was kind of like our first day. It was a very chill day. We went to the pool that day as well.
Nice.
To the Disneyland Hotel. So they provided a shuttle, a golf cart shuttle, to the Disneyland Hotel. So we didn't even have to walk to the Disneyland Hotel.
It's not even that far.
Not even that far.
The hotel's right next to...
But they
you
literally
just have to cross the street.
Right. And they literally just walk through a parking lot, basically. Yeah. You just walk through a parking lot and you're there. But they have a free golf cart shuttle to and from the Disneyland Hotel. The pool has got like 3 parts. So there's like 3 big pools and then 2 slides, 2 big water slides and 2 hot tubs. So like there were tons of people there. But the water slides were really fast and really fun.
Did your oldest go on then?
They both went on both the slides.
Oh, that's fun.
So they loved them. They had a ton of fun. I forgot my swimsuit, so I had to go hunting for a swimsuit. The shops in the hotels did not have any men's swimsuits, so I had to go travel to.
You had to get the little kids' speedos.
It was like a Billabong store.
There's a little surf shop at downtown Disney, so I had to walk over there and pay.
Do you still have that sweatshirt we got there for you? It was the brown one.
Oh.
Or bought it for you like 13 years ago.
I think it's in a box somewhere.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You held on to it.
I have the other Disney sweatshirt you got me too.
The one from Disney World?
Yeah.
Good. Appreciate it. Just keep lying to me.
Yeah.
Right. So we did the pool thing for a couple hours. That was fun. Great pool. Heated pools.
Ooh,
they were heated.
Nice.
So that was a shock to me. I was like, oh, these are heated.
Got Disney money. They can pump that. What I've heard, heated pools, they are so expensive.
Oh yeah, and they were nice. I was just like, this is nice. I'd always admired the Disneyland pool hotel. I was like, oh, that looks nice. It would be fun to be swimming. It is. It looks just as fun as it looks.
Oh, man.
It is.
I'm jealous now.
It is awesome.
I've never seen a pool look so cool at a resort in comparison to Disney World's.
Yeah.
Disney World's, they kind of rely on you to you need to go to the water parks, then then go use our pools.
Right.
Yeah.
Ours are for convenience and we'll do a little something here.
Right.
But Disneyland's pool, I've always been like, that looks cool. I'm curious.
It is a cool pool. So if you ever get a chance to go in that pool, it is a fun, cool pool. Some of the perks with staying at the Paradise Pier Hotel is that you don't have to walk as far to get into parks. So they allow you to... So actually, this wasn't open yet, but probably by the time this episode airs, this will probably be open. They're actually... At the time, they were building a private entrance just for the Paradise Pier Hotel guests right into Pixar Pier. So
wow.
that's literally... they were
cool.
building that while we were there. But in the meantime, they allowed us to walk through the Grand California Hotel right into California Adventure through the Grizzly River area right there. So that's how we got into California Adventure. And then if you want to Disneyland, you go out to the downtown Disney entrance through the same hotel, through the Grand California.
Didn't they used to have the monorail go to the hotel?
It doesn't ever go to the hotel.
I thought it did at one
It
point.
used to go to the Disneyland Hotel,
Yeah.
but then when they remodeled downtown Disney and California Adventure, they kind of moved it
Okay.
up a little bit. But it used to take you right to the Disneyland Hotel.
It's I've never stayed at the Disneyland Hotel. I really have explored that area, so I guess I'm pulling from 30 years ago.
Right. But yeah, it used to actually go straight to the hotel, but now it doesn't. It's a little bit before. You have to walk a little bit. But yeah, so you have ease of access through the Grand California Hotel. They do ask to see your room key before you go in because there's obviously hotels that are right down the street that would love to go through the Grand California Hotel to kind of create a shortcut. But in the morning, they require you to show off your key.
One time, Mark and I snuck through for some reason.
We're getting breakfast here. That was always the excuse you used at Disney World. You pull in and you're like, "What are you doing here?" And you're like, "Oh, I'm eating at this restaurant. What time's your appointment?" And then you look at your watch. You're like, 30 minutes from now. They're like, "Okay.
Well, now
make sure you leave in 2 hours." All right.
Well, now it's all. They can see your reservation.
That's
what I said. This is pre-reservation.
Right.
Now, so that's a funny story because my friend, she picked us up from Disney Springs when we were at Disney World and took us over to the Polynesian. And what they told the security guard was like, "Oh, I'm just dropping them off," acting like Uber or Lyft.
Yeah. And
they just let us in.
There you go.
So
that's how you get around it.
Yep.
You gotta just get an Uber sticker.
Right. So yeah. So that was kind of. So I literally went to all 3 Disneyland hotels, all 3 of those resorts on my stay. So I got to experience all of their lobbies and all of that stuff.
Is California still the grandest of them all?
Oh, absolutely.
It's so pretty.
Absolutely.
The lobby is so gorgeous.
And I still, because like we stayed there at one point.
Once. I think we stayed like one or 2 nights.
It was a couple nights.
Yeah.
And those beds, I remember those beds being so soft.
I would love to stay there again, and then I go online and look at their pricing. It's like $800 a night, and I'm like, no, thank you.
That's for a cheap room.
Yeah.
That's the one looking at the dumpster, and they're like, "It's so magical," and it just keeps slamming.
Me and my wife, we look at the place, and we're all like, "Yeah, we'll stay here when we have stupid money."
I like that. Stupid money.
When we have stupid money, that's when we'll stay here.
Yeah.
So we had ease of access to and from the parks, not as much of a walk as if you were staying at a non-Disney resort. So that was kind of nice. The restaurant was closed in the resort, so we couldn't eat there. But they do provide kind of like an Uber Eats situation where you can order food from downtown Disney and they'll bring it to your room.
That's cool.
Nice.
It takes a while. It takes about like an hour for it to get to your room. We never took an opportunity to use it. We thought about doing it, but it just didn't work out. Timing didn't work out.
Seems like you get to plan in advance for that. Like, we'll be in the room at this time. We want our food to be here.
Right. You kind of have to like order it on your way to your room if you're coming back for lunch or something. Yeah. So that was basically like our first day. Then the next 2 days we did inside Disneyland Park, which, the Tuesday we did do Genie Plus.
Was it busy? Crowded?
Oh, very.
It was very crowded.
Memorial Day weekend. Prior to that, a lot of people have taken time off.
Star Wars week.
Star Wars
There's
week.
A lot. Star Wars Land was crazy. So like that Tuesday we did do Genie Plus, which to kind of give an update on it. I would still say it's worth it, regardless of how effective it is. It's still worth it. I've kind of talked about it with you guys before. It does lay in that level of paranoia of like trying to figure out when the right time to use it is.
That kind of really takes you out of the experience.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
Or like it can create that like I missed out on an opportunity to like I wasted a fast pass, and it's like that wasn't the purpose. It was supposed to like make you feel good,
and
like,
then
you're beating the system, and now it's all like the system's beating you.
Right, and that's how I definitely felt that way. So, like, the parks were open till midnight all week long.
Oh, yeah, makes sense.
And so we were like, well, let's wait to use them until later. And then, like, when we got to, like, the end of the night, when we had all these fast passes, basically from 10 o'clock onward, they were all walk-ons.
Yeah,
except
been like that in the park.
Except for Space Mountain, Matterhorn,
Peter Pan,
Indiana Jones. Well, Peter Pan doesn't have a fast pass.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Indiana Jones, and those are the ones that normally have lines at this point, but everything else is walk on.
Indiana Jones has always been like a walk on, like
if you
8 or 9 o'clock,
right?
Like,
well, honestly, I still have the opinion the Indiana Jones Lightning Lane / Fast Pass is the most worthless Fast Pass out of the group.
It's garbage.
Yeah,
it saves you the least amount of time.
As far as like Genie Plus, like you just really have to keep an eye on the attractions you want to go to that are big and try to get them during like high peak times between like 12 and 3 or 4.
Honestly, I'm at the point now with it where like just forget about the stress about it and worrying about like if it's a good time to use it or not. Just use it.
Do it.
And if it's just a waste of a fast pass, then it's just a waste. And
just
you're still getting on the ride relatively quickly. You'll be able to enjoy your day more than constantly like, okay, the return time for this is around here, so if I wait a couple hours, it should be about 6 o'clock. Well, and you deal with that like, it's just too much. Just if it's available, go for it. Just don't deal with that stress. That would be my recommendation for it. Will it save you time? Yes, it absolutely will save you time.
Yeah.
But at what cost?
At what cost?
It's like the money thing is like tainted the fun and like the victory with a fast pass.
Right.
Thank you, Disney.
So, we did end up going. I broke my rule. We went back to the hotel.
Yeah. Was it nice? Did you enjoy it?
Yes and no.
Oh, okay.
So, yes, it was nice to, like, because it was hot.
Yeah.
You know, it was hot in the daytime.
Yeah.
And so we walked back to the hotel, and the kids were kind of, like, tired.
Done.
They were done. And so we get back to the hotel, and it was, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We got back to the hotel. I, was like, let's rest for an hour. Rest for an hour. Me and my wife, we were trying to rest for an hour. The kids were wide awake, wide awake monkeys, and we're like, this is the time to rest. Like, the park's open till midnight sort of thing. Like, we're going back. It's going to be late. Then eventually Casey goes, you know what? I'm not coming back to the park. Like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And you have that luxury with a season pass. So you can just, like, or as a cast member, you're just like, no, I'm good. 4 hours is good.
Right.
Let's enjoy it.
And we accomplished a lot in the morning, which, you know, that should always be your goal. First in the morning, you knock out all the attractions, which we did. We knocked out a lot of attractions, which then at that point I said, well, I'm going back to the park. I'm that person. I have to go back to the park. So I was literally there probably from like 6 straight to midnight. I was there all the way to midnight.
Were you the only one?
It was just me.
Oh my gosh.
None of the kids wanted
And
to come
so
back.
keep in mind, at this point, earlier in the day, we had booked 4 fast passes for Space Mountain.
You went 4 times in a row?
I rode 4 times in a row.
Oh, fun!
And it was Hyperspace Mountain, which was Star Wars themed.
I haven't done that, and I want
So
to.
I'll tell a story about that. So with Hyperspace Mountain, it's Star Wars themed Space Mountain. Okay, like honestly, the best part is you're riding Space Mountain with John Williams music. You know, that's the best part. The screens with the things happening, it's okay. It's not anything to call home about. But like, you know, the music thing. But I always kind of like, you had like the hesitant people, the hesitant fans. I knew I had Star Wars fans every single time I rode because, like, you know, it starts off, you turn the corner and it's like dark and you hear the music, bang, and like nobody's doing anything, and I go, woo! And then all of a sudden the whole vehicle's like, yeah, Star Wars, yeah! Like, this is awesome. Every single time. Like, I was the one that'd be like, woo! Ah! And everyone's all cheering. And like, even throughout the ride, like, I'm all yelling and screaming, like, yeah, we got the TIE Fighter!
Yeah.
Or like, you know, there's a part where you blow up the Star Destroyer, and you know, I'm like, yeah, we did it! Everyone's like, yeah, we did it! As we go into the exit. Like, it was a blast.
That's like
every
the
single
best
time.
part, I think, as like someone who goes to the park often is trying to make magic or like make the ride experience
Enhance
better for other
It's like
people.
when you're racing cars
Yeah.
at Cars Land and you like try to like egg on the other vehicle, like, we're gonna beat you, oh, you're so slow.
Right.
And they're like, they kind of compete too.
Which, that's a whole other story we can talk about. The cars.
Yeah, you were there when it broke.
I was at the resort. I wasn't in the park when it happened. But
Something happened?
Yeah, I'll talk about. I'll talk about that when we get to it. But it did happen this day. But I'll talk about what happened when we hit the California Adventure. But yeah, so like I rode that like 4 times. And then I rode the Matterhorn. I had a fast pass for the Matterhorn. And then I did like Haunted Mansion and like.
Was it fun? It's fun to go by yourself, but then it's like, did you miss your family being there?
So like, yes and no. So like, there's that element of like, Disneyland is definitely an experience meant to be shared with other people. You know, there's nothing more lonely than going up to like in a line and they go, "How big's your party?" 1. You know, like there's kind of a weird feeling doing that unless you're in a single rider line. But like just doing 1 makes you feel like you're a little loser. But the upside is you go at your own pace. You go do exactly what you want to do. Like I literally followed the Disney winds. You know, I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to watch this. I'm going to go circle around here. I'm going to go eat this churro. I'm going to go eat here. I'm going to, you know, I literally like went everywhere.
Where did you have dinner there? Was that your fam?
No, I think I ate dinner before I went back into the park.
O'clock, you know.
Yeah.
We had pizza.
You have to eat it
we had
outside.
pizza from downtown Disney.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it Napoli or something?
Yeah.
Napoli?
It was their express kitchen.
Okay.
Good.
So, oh yeah, it was excellent. But yeah, so like I did so much. I saw parts of the Main Street Electrical Parade that's come back, and that's really cool because like
They have new parts.
They
New
changed
additions to it.
they changed the last float. The last float was the American flag float, which was like 3 segments long, which now they've kind of turned it into a mishmash of a bunch of Disney cartoons. So they got like Encanto and Hercules
Disney's
and
replaced
Elsa.
America.
What? Yeah. And so like and you know what, the final float looks cool. Like I'm not gonna like hate on Disney for making that change. I think it's a good
Changing
change.
a parade
An
that's
old
almost 50 years
parade,
old. Yeah.
At 45, I think it's 45.
Yeah, so like it's pushing. It's in
Right.
that upper range.
Like the parade that keeps saying this is the last time.
They were
Never.
saying that when I was
90s,
7 or 8.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
Buy
but
the video.
the end parade float, like I think it worked really good. The music with it worked really well. What I thought was cool was whether you're on Main Street or over by It's a Small World, they're doing projections based off of the show as well. So like, It's a Small World looks all electrolyzed and all that stuff. So it was kind of cool seeing them
That's fun.
add that effect for the Main Street Electrical Parade. I would say if you're going to watch the parade, go to It's a Small World. It's a little less busy over there.
It's always been a good spot.
It's more busy over on
and the
Main
parade
Street.
finishes sooner.
Well, it depends. So they do 2 parades. They do one there and
That's
back.
right. They do the there and back. Okay.
So obviously the second one's going to be the less busy one because that one's at like 10:30 or something like that. It's late. So a lot of people have already left. And a lot of people camp out for that
The
first
early one.
parade.
Because they want to go home.
Right.
Everyone wants to go to bed at like 9 or 10.
Right.
It's been a long day.
But some people, they'll camp out on their spot on Main Street for like 4 hours, and you'll just don't have a chance. So if you're okay staying late, go to that second showing. It'll be less busy.
You reap so much reward from staying late.
Yeah.
When I had to work the late shift at Disney World, it was like walk on.
Yes.
There's times where we would just sit there at like Magic Carpets Aladdin and like we could create like magic as an like
right.
because this one kid wanted to keep writing and we're like just stay there. And we just like kept running it for her. And they're like, want to go again? Okay, let's just do it. So like for like 30 minutes we just kept running and no one showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like you could have really cool magical moments with cast members if you're cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't demand anything.
Right. Like you are not entitled to anything.
Yeah.
You'll really feel the wrath of like get out of the vehicle, get back in line.
Right.
I'll do the spiel and then we'll do this again.
Right. But so I had my fun big push day where I pushed myself to be there till midnight.
You did a Father Yodeler.
I
You
did
embodied the Father Yodeler.
Oh yeah, and it's not the last time either.
You guys got pretty burned out. I remember seeing you guys the weekend after.
Oh, we definitely paid for it physically. It took us a few days to come back from our venture. So then the next day, we were in the park. Let's see here. This was Wednesday. Okay, so on this day, this was going to be kind of like our chill day. This was going to be the day my friend Austin, who's been on the show before on our collections episode, he was going to Galaxy's Edge. He was going to the Star Wars convention, and this was his first time going to Star Wars Land for the first time. So I got to experience some of that with him.
Which is probably a real treat. He's got so much knowledge and so much love for Star Wars.
Like we went through the Rise of the Resistance. I tried to convince him to do Lightning Lane, but he goes, "No, I want to see the stuff. I want to see the stuff."
I get it.
And he did. He looked at all the stuff in the queue, and as we got to the end of, when we got to merge, the point of merge, the ride broke down.
Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh.
So he never got to ride the ride.
You didn't go back.
Well, he was on a tight schedule. He was only going to be in the park for a few hours.
That's so hard.
So yeah, we jumped line, And yeah, but we did get to ride. I get to ride Star Tours with them and Buzz Lightyear and things like that.
Did you get the Millennial Falcon?
I'm assuming he did. He
Okay.
didn't. I wasn't there for
He wasn't
that.
requesting it with you.
No, it was one of those things. Like he was gonna tell me when he was coming in that same day, so he wasn't gonna show up till like afternoon. And so I was kind of waiting for him. My wife had left around noon took the kids back to the hotel to go to the swimming pool and things like that. I stayed and started watching Mr. Lincoln, and then he called me in the middle of the show saying, "Hey, I'm at Galaxy's Edge right now." And I'm like, "All right." And I left the show to go meet up with them and all of that. So
Like two brothers, peace.
Yeah.
I didn't even make it that far in the
Wow.
show, and that's early on in the show. But yeah, so I got to hang out with him for a bit. We did not stay till close. We just felt like, okay, yeah, like we were just there for, I think we probably went back probably around 9 o'clock. I went back to the hotel. So it was definitely it was like, I'm not going to push myself. I pushed myself the day before.
Yeah.
Because the next day was the last day, and I'm going to push
You
myself
go
for
hard.
the last day.
Yeah.
So the last day was California Adventure. We get into the park, we hit... Literally, this is my opinion. If you get to California Adventure first thing in the morning, you do not need Lightning Lane. You do not need to pay for Fast Pass. Because, literally, we hit almost every single ride.
What'd you hit first?
We did Soarin' first.
You
And
did
then
Soarin'.
we did Soarin' first. And then we hit all of, the pier.
Yeah.
And, knocked that out.
I agree. Pier you should hit in the morning.
We did that. And then all that was really left was, Guardians. And Cars was closed. Now, what happened here, if you're not aware,
I'm not aware.
There was an
News.
incident where one of the vehicles kind of got off track
Whoa.
and was smoking. And so there's video footage of
Pulled a Tesla.
the people in the vehicle freaking out help, get us help, because there's smoke all behind them. They're thinking the car's on fire. As of right now, I believe that the attraction's been reopened. They said it was an isolated incident. There's nothing wrong with the attraction.
Yeah.
But because of that incident happening, I never got to ride the attraction on my trip.
Yeah, they closed it.
Which honestly is a big stress reliever because that's a monster of
It
a
is.
line. So that was one
it's
less
almost
thing I have to
worth
worry
just
It's a
about.
time
Hey,
sucker.
yeah,
When I go in, I'm all I'm driving in a convertible and it's car theme, and it's the one ride where I'm just I don't buy it. I think it's a waste. It's overhyped.
That's why it's if you're gonna do it, just purchase the Lightning Lane.
Or single rider.
Single rider.
Single rider.
If you're in a party that can do single rider, our original plan was that we were going to do single rider for most of the party, and then either me or my wife was going to do. We're going to pay for the fast pass with our youngest.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was kind of our plan.
Your young one would be a little too little for
Right. And Bentley, my oldest, he did a single rider. Me and my wife went, not me and my wife, my wife and my son, my oldest son, they went to Disneyland in April for a day. And so they did single rider for that ride, and he was okay at that point. So we knew he would be fine doing single rider again. But that ride broke down, so we didn't have to worry about that. So honestly, we got through the only attraction that really had a wait was Guardians, and
Kind of pull what Jackie did with Epcot. We're just we're kind of done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just we stuck it out in the park. We had our nephew with us. He kind of extended his trip with his family. He just kind of carried over and stayed with us. And so
Was it Luke?
Yeah. And so, we just kind of had fun. We kind of went around. For World of Color, It does. If you want to be in the viewing area, you do need a reservation for it. So
does it go through the app?
It's through the app. It's the same way you did boarding groups for Rise of the Resistance sort of thing. At 1:00, they become available, and you just hit, give me a spot. And so then when you get there with your pass, you just show them, and then you just find a ghost spot to watch the show. We saw World of Color. It was awesome. It's the same show. One thing I didn't realize, and this is something I didn't realize till watching the show from the hotel room, is like they have like a big fireball in the middle of the show during the Pirates of the Caribbean part. That fireball goes as high as that Ferris wheel.
Whoa.
That fireball goes
crazy.
tall. Like there's a part you go, whoa, the big fireball. That fireball goes high. As high as that Ferris wheel. I was like,
well,
dang.
you can definitely feel the heat, even if you're in the back.
Right.
So that makes sense.
So World of Color happened. We see the show. My wife was going to take the kids back to the hotel. I was going to park hop over to Disneyland with Luke because they don't close until midnight. So we go.
I'm shaking my head like nuts,
the
man.
crowd.
The crowd was nuts.
It's
Trying to get
bad.
through that crowd was crazy.
It's Friday too.
It probably would have
It was
been
Thursday.
probably would have been quicker just to go to California Hotel.
It might have been. But the thing was, the gridlock to get into Disneyland Park was nuts.
Oh yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Like the
next thing maybe would have been going to the monorail.
Oh yeah.
Well, monorail's closed. Monorail closes at like 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, monorail closes early. They don't run at night. So we waited. I don't know. Like it took us about when we left California Adventure, it probably took us another 10-15 minutes to get into Disneyland, which wasn't that bad. They literally like normally you go first thing in the morning. They always look at your picture and make sure it matches. Here it's just like go.
Last 2 hours of the park. They don't really
And
care.
that's you don't want people having a bad experience. It's just the last thing you want to do is slam City Hall with complaints
Right.
of a long wait to get into the park.
Right.
When people are
So, but
hopping.
we get in there. We kill it. We rode 7 or 8 attractions.
Wow.
Within those last few hours. Technically
those last
2
hours.
hours because World of Color started at 9. It's
don't get
about a
out
20-minute
till
show.
10,
It took
yeah.
about 30 minutes
So you
for us
didn't
to
get
get
in till
into the
about
park.
10.
It's about 10 o'clock, so we had 2 hours left in the park. We got about 7 attractions, and we were trying to... We had Lightning Lane because we had it for California Adventure, but it carries over to Disneyland as well. So we were trying to use them, but we couldn't use them because everything was a walk-on.
Yeah.
And the lines that weren't walk-ons, the fast passes were already sold out. And so, I told them the plan was, we're going to do everything, but the last ride we get into will be Space Mountain. Because that's all he wanted to do. I want to do Space Mountain.
And I'm sure Fast Pass.
And I told him,
was
I go,
gone.
listen, if we do Space Mountain, as soon as
It's the
we get in,
last
that'll
ride.
be it. That's the only ride we're going to ride. But if we do this, we can do several other attractions, and then if we get in
5
before
minutes
close,
before.
7:59.
you get in.
Our
and it's
policy
done.
was as long as the gates open.
So
Yeah.
we got Star Tours, then we did Buzz, then we crossed over. Then we were gonna do what was it? We were gonna go do Splash Mountain. We did Splash Mountain. Then we went and did Haunted Mansion. We were gonna do Indiana Jones, but they broke down.
Story of Indy's life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we went over to Autopia. We did all of that. We completely did Tomorrowland, and then it was about
Were you riding the high? Were you just
oh, it was
Yeah.
it was go, and then it was
Just
probably
the exciting of how much can we get done?
it was probably about I think it was 11:45 when we're all right, let's go to Space Mountain. When we jumped in that line, and it was a little bit of a wait, but it was for being the last ride of the night. It was great. And then we walked back.
About how long was the wait?
I don't know, maybe 30 minutes.
Okay.
As soon as midnight hit, as soon as the last fast pass person had crossed through, they just
Yeah.
we just walked right in and right on.
They plow through the line.
They push through at the end. Yep.
And so, which was fun. I actually got to sit in every single row of Space Mountain on my trip this time.
Wow.
Yeah, I sat in every single row. Not me asking. It just happened that way. So I was like,
a 1 to 6.
yeah.
It's impressive.
So
Did you do the ritual after Space Mountain? Did you go to Fantasyland and walk through?
I did that on on Tuesday night.
Because you didn't think you were gonna do it.
Well, I had my nephew with me.
You're like, come on, we're
gonna walk around Fantasyland.
and just take it in.
I kind of did that on Tuesday.
Because
night.
you guys weren't
When you're
planning
on your
on
own.
coming to Disneyland.
Not real. Like he was planning on coming, and I said like, yeah, why not? Park's open till midnight.
Yeah.
And so
I'm such an old man. I'm like, nope, going to bed. My feet hurt.
right. But no, I mean it was good. It was a great trip. A little bit of perks about. I was going to talk a lot about the being an annual pass holder, but it's kind of weird doing that now that Disney's announced that they're halting all annual pass purchases.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just like, what's their objective with that? Why are they halting the sales?
They're making so much money without them, I imagine. That they're going to ride the high until the economy slows down.
You also have to keep in mind that they made another announcement the same day, which is they're offering a locals discount on day tickets.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they're gonna. I think that's what
I think they're testing to see what is more profitable.
Because right now they're making hand over fist right now with the parks open. People are traveling.
People are getting out. It's the big travel year right now.
So why bog down?
But
with
right now,
pass holders?
from what I read and hear from the Disney community, that the next coming years, there's going to be a big Universal push for people excited just to go to Universal because Universal is a lot cheaper, and they're upping their stuff. I mean, and at least in California, they got their Nintendo Land that should be opening up, I think, next year.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are excited about that.
And they're building a new amusement park in
Florida.
Florida.
Yep. And so, Universal's going to, I think, push Disney to maybe step back a little bit from the price gouging because
it's
been heavy.
It's brutal. It's brutal.
I remember when it was just 5 years ago when they ripped it, when they pushed it above 100.
Mm-hmm. And that was a big deal. And now we're talking 150.
You can't even see anything for less than 100 now. It has to be a slow day. Yeah. It's kind of deterred me from wanting to go anytime soon into going to Disneyland. Just man, it's expensive to go for a day.
It is. It's
just for a family of 3 or 4, it would be $500 for one day, and that's a huge commitment. Not including food and housing.
I mean, Disney's definitely pricing out people because they want a certain.
They make more money with people that have money to spend that, and I get it. And that's what I said.
It's a
I'm
business.
just gonna wait until
eventually it'll cave.
Yeah.
Eventually something will give.
Something that goes up must come down a little bit.
Well, my guess is Disney's going up, and then eventually they're going to get a point where they're just going to stop.
Yeah.
And they're just going to stay until inflation and things like that take into place and where everyone's here. And then they'll be like, okay, now we're back up. And then it's a cycle.
The Disney parks, I worked with the cast members at Disney World after the Great Recession. And mid-management was cut, and it was the parks were empty, and everyone was just so concerned for hours and just trying to survive. And so, I mean, if you think about it since then, I mean, it's just gone up. And so all Disney done has just gone up with it. And so, I remember I was getting they were giving military so many passes, they were much cheaper.
Yeah.
Just go to the park.
We need you in there. The dining packages came out.
Oh yeah, those were huge.
Oh yeah, the dining. They haven't brought that back yet.
No, nor do I think they will anytime soon.
They don't need to at Disney World.
No, but if I had to kind of give my tips for people in the current state of Disneyland, it is be there first thing in the morning, take a break in the middle of the day. As much as that, depending on when the park closes.
Yes.
Because if it's like an 8 o'clock, just stick it out.
Yeah.
But if it's a midnight thing, take a break in the middle of the day. Because usually if it's a midnight thing, it's hot probably.
It's a long day, too.
It's a long,
crowded.
hot day. Because first thing in the morning, you'll get everything you need to get done there. And then those last 3 hours, everything's a walk-on. Everything's pretty much a walk-on except for the major attractions.
And the sun's down.
The sun's down. You go as fast as you need to
You
go.
just gotta take those naps in the afternoon to
If
kind of
you take
recover
that-
if you're doing the back-to-back, like, open, close, open, close.
Right.
It also gives you the opportunity to, like, eat off property if you don't want to spend all that money on property.
True.
So, that would be my recommendation. Would I recommend staying at a Disney resort? It has its perks. The downside, it's very expensive. That's just that's kind of
Proximity is a huge thing.
like it was
You're
nice
paying
being
for it.
really close. Like that was really nice.
I mean, I've stayed at, last time we went, we stayed at a hotel right across from the entrance.
Yes.
Off of Harbor.
Yeah, off a harbor. And it was nice. And it's half the price of, like,
A Disney
of
hotel. Yeah.
like, the Pixar one.
Yeah.
And so...
Which is the cheaper one of the three.
I mean, it's still pricey for a hotel, but it's also worth it, I would say, because it's about the same length of, like, downtown Disney.
That's probably what I would do. I would stay on that side
Yeah.
and just walk in.
And they're mostly renovated, so they're fairly nice.
I would say the difference between the two would be security is going to be a lot longer to get
Yes.
through on the one side compared to the downtown
Absolutely.
side. Because, like, literally, like, there was never more than 3 people in front of
No
me
one's
in
gonna walk
security.
a mile from like the closest by the
Yeah.
Denny's or
Right.
the IHOP. Is it the IHOP one from that
Yeah.
corner
Something like that.
off of Catella or something like
Yeah,
that?
so, like, yeah, there was never more than 3 people in front of me
That's
in
nice.
security. So that was definitely a perk.
Yeah, it's just with Disney, it's just like, how much is your time worth? How much
That's
are
what
your
it
feet
is.
worth? You know? And Disney's like, trying to make a profit off of that.
They know what they're doing. And,
Yeah.
And you're going there because you want the experience, and they're good at the experience that they give you. It's like, what is it going to cost?
Yeah.
It's always the question.
Yes.
Shut up and take my money.
That's what it was at every churro cart. They had almost a special churro at every single cart, and I had most of them.
What was your favorite churro?
This one didn't really have very many
Okay.
good ones. Like,
What was the worst one then?
probably the blueberry cheesecake one.
Ooh, okay.
That one, like, it was, like, interesting
And
at
then he rode
first.
Space Mountain 4 times.
Well, like, no.
Oh.
That one was, like, interesting because, like, you eat it and you're like, oh, that's different, yeah. And then, like, because they give you, like, a cheesecake dipping thing to go with it. And, like, you just, like, get halfway through it and you're like, I don't want to finish this. I'm kind of done.
Yeah.
I'm
The
satisfied.
the curiosity is
The
gone.
s'mores one was interesting. They had a s'mores churro. That was kind of interesting. Trying to remember what the other one. They had this one was pretty good. It was a orange creamsicle churro.
Oh,
That one was
that
pretty
sounds
good.
I do like me some orange creamsicle.
That one was pretty good. Yes, that one was
Okay.
over by Haunted Mansion. Then they had one over by Splash Mountain. That one was like a strawberry and a blue raspberry. So it was like half strawberry, half blue raspberry. That was interesting. But I wouldn't say I was blown away like I was with the peanut butter chocolate cheesecake churro that I had at the Cozy Cone the last time I went. That was really good. That wasn't there this time.
That's the one you're seeking after. It's the unicorn.
No, the
churro.
one I'm searching for is the bacon churro.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
I've had the Dole Whip churro, and that's my favorite so far.
Yeah. The maple bacon churro.
Oh.
It was there when my wife and my son went in April But I couldn't come because of work, but it was there for Food and Wine Festival.
Dang work. Always ruining
I
life.
know. I should just call out. Which is what I did. Which is why I was able to extend my trip. But yeah, that's my trip.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. Let us know, yodelers, if you have any questions about Disneyland, if you're planning on a trip ongoing, have any questions and want to know any tips. We've got lots of knowledge about that. You can follow us on our Instagram, our Facebook, our Twitter. You can email us at matterhornyodelers@gmail.com. Let us know any of your thoughts and feelings about really anything. We'd love to hear from you. With that being said, have a magical day.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Matterhorn Yodelers. Please remember, before your bobsled comes to a complete stop, to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember...
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.